Draymond. Who wants Draymond back? Let's go to Coach in Los Altos. Coach, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Gentlemen, great show and great conversation, especially around Draymond. So, to me, it's a absolute must bring back for three reasons. One is Steph's comfort level, and he's like a +8, I think the stat is, with him on the floor versus off. He makes Steph better on offense. Second, and probably it should have been the other way around, he is the quarterback of the defense, and he can play 1 through 5, but he cleans up so many mistakes on the backside that I think we go to a bottom-dwelling defensive team without him. And then third is, and this is sort of an intangible, is, he is, as Kerr says, he's sort of the drumbeat of the team. He's the heartbeat of the team. And I think this team, frankly, falls apart without Draymond. So to me, Steph is number 1 in importance, and Draymond's number 2, even above Clay. So that's my take, and would love to get your take about that offline.
Coach, it was great to see you back at Chase last season, and it's a hell of a take. And I'll meet him halfway. He is the quarterback of the defense. And what does it look like without Draymond Green defensively? I don't think it looks good, especially early on. He does clean up a lot of things. That's one thing, as much as we've been critical of Draymond Green offensively, boy, Draymond Green defensively does do a lot. He changed that Sacramento series at times, defending De'Aaron Fox, taking Sabonis out of the game. Now, again, we were just having this conversation, Chesky, about the way the season ended and the optics of him not guarding AD or not guarding LeBron. It didn't sit well with a lot of people, including myself. So there's some give and take here with Draymond Green. What does it look like without him? It's very intriguing. But I think early on there will be some stumbles if they do decide to part ways with Draymond Green.
Again, this is not the end-all, be-all, but do you want to know what Steph's numbers are? This is throughout his entire when Draymond's not there. He averages 26 points a game, 5 rebounds, almost 7 assists. I mean, Steph's pretty close to Steph.
Steph.
I know.
Like
I'm not saying that he's not better.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, they're 37 and 21 without Draymond when Steph Curry plays.
Yeah, I think Steph would be an MVP type of player.
They help each other. I'm not saying they don't.
No doubt.
But to say that he cannot function without him, I think is a little far. Not that Coach said that.
Well, it's disrespectful to Stephen Curry. Let's go to Andrew in Berkeley. Andrew in Berkeley, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Yeah, hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Anytime.
So my thoughts are that because Draymond's by himself in terms of the low post, the Warriors don't have enough to make it happen. They would have gotten their clock clean by Denver and Jokic. There's no beef other than Draymond.
Looney.
And you need a center that's tall, beefy, athletic to make it happen. And there's just, Wiggs is just a lean guy. He's fast, but he can't beef, if you know what I mean by beef. And there's just, Denver had the beef on the sides as well as the height, as well as Jokic. So they would have never, I don't believe, this year. Secondly, in regards to Jordan, I think the reason that he got traded, aside from the punch, is because he couldn't put himself in second fiddle to Curry, and he wanted to be the hero, even with Curry on the court, and that's why Draymond got pissed off at him, and he wasn't.
Yeah, that's incorrect on why. I'm not going to go into detail, but that's factually incorrect. Now, did Jordan Poole want to start? Sure. He didn't want to be. Was it because he wanted to be, hey, I'm the guy, Steph. Jordan Poole ain't no dummy. He's not dumb. You realize this whole operation begins and ends with Stephen Curry. Gosh, Tyler Jenkins. This guy watched The Bear last night. Beef. The Bear is a great show. Have you started season 2?
No, not season 2, but it's excellent.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's excellent.
I just started season 2.
Have you ever worked in food service at any level?
No, I refuse to.
But you worked at Starbucks, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of have some idea of food service.
Pizza,
a little,
Starbucks.
not.
I would never work at a restaurant. That was
you learn a lot.
You learn a lot.
You learn a lot about how to treat people, about what goes on behind the scenes.
No doubt.
I was just curious because I think it's pretty damn good. There's a movie back in the day which is a little over the top. It's called Waiting with Ryan Reynolds, and those that are in the food service industry know about that movie. Bear, though, is
Bear's
it's really
great.
good.
Yeah,
I'm really good.
3 or 4 episodes.
The writing's
into,
excellent.
3 or 4 episodes into season 2. So really
I didn't
good
know
show.
if that was a joke call, though,
Yeah,
because he said beef 10,000 times.
Beef, 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 beef. They need beef. But yesterday we were talking about who guards Jokic the best, and Draymond Green does defend Jokic as well as anybody in the NBA. And right now we do have a Jokic problem. The Denver Nuggets are not going anywhere, folks. They're not. Aaron Gordon got better. Michael Porter Jr. got better. Jamal Murray's doing what he's doing. You need some size inside. And right now you don't have a lot of size. So okay, let's ask this then before we get Jay Billis on at 7:30. Because a lot of people do want Draymond Green to walk. And I understand why. And I understand why people want Draymond Green back. What's plan B if Draymond Green does move on?
Well, are you able to work out a sign and trade? Because I think if you don't work out a sign and trade, now you're in a more difficult position, and I think you have to make a bigger move on your current roster. If you can work out a sign and trade, then maybe you can get back some stuff that can help you out.
A lot of people want Draymond Green to walk, but I don't hear a lot of solutions to replace Draymond Green.
Well,
or is he irreplaceable?
Well, do you believe that maybe you take a slight step back in a lot of areas, but more of a step forward down the line with someone like Jonathan Kuminga?
Maybe, but then you got to ask, will Steph have the patience for that?
Well, that's a great, almost obvious question. I don't know the answer to that. It does feel like you have to have the patience to wait for Chris Paul's expiring contract, which to me, if you're making the argument about Chris Paul, the most lucrative part of Chris Paul is 1 year from now.
Right.
Or in January
Exactly.
when things become desirable. So there's patience on that. Could you be patient with Kuminga during that same time frame?
Maybe. Steve Kerr's not the coach who has exhibited patience in the past when it comes to youngsters.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'm not going to.
But are they still young? They've been in the league 3 years now.
2 years now. 2 years. This would be year number 3.
I mean, and that's kind of one of the more frustrating parts of the two young guys they have left.
We don't know who they are.
Well, it's 2 years, and we don't really know a whole lot.
So,
and then the question also then becomes like, because when a player leaves, right? Like for example, like there's some things that Jimmy Garoppolo does well that Brock Purdy doesn't, but then there's all these other things that Brock Purdy does better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and so when you weigh them together, it's a net positive that you think Brock Purdy's better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Kuminga can give you some athleticism, and yeah, maybe you take a drop off in post defense, but you increase this athleticism around the rim, and that becomes a net positive by year end. And then also, I believe Kuminga's got a little better perimeter defense at this point in his career than Draymond, but can he improve his post defense? Right. So now it's a negative, but by year's end, it's a little closer.
Also,
do you get where I'm going?
Yeah, but where's his IQ at? Does he understand the game yet? And that's one thing we underrate when it comes to Draymond Green.
That's a great point. It's a great counterpoint.
Study. He does know what a team is running. He does know their sets. He knows tendencies. Will Jonathan Kuminga be able to pick that up in year number 3 after not playing a whole lot in the first 2 years of his career? All right, that's another question. So as much as we want Draymond, a lot of people want Draymond Green to move on. What is the solution if you do lose Draymond Green? How are you replacing Draymond Green on this team? That's one thing we have not talked about. I'm eager. What does it look like without Draymond Green?
I don't know if you can quote unquote replace him.
Are you a playoff team without Draymond Green?
Wow. I mean, with Steph Curry, don't you feel like you're a playoff team?
But Steph's going to miss about 15 games, right?
It's true. You were basically a playoff team. I know everyone says you weren't, but the year that they lost in the play-in, you were basically a playoff team with no Clay.
Yeah.
And I think that roster was significantly worse than what they have right now.
Interesting.
I think Chris Paul, adding Chris Paul makes you a lot, because Jordan Poole was not the same Jordan Poole that year.
They were barely a playoff team with Draymond Green this year. Are they a playoff team without Draymond Green? I don't know if they are.
I don't know.
So if that's the case, if you had to have a pecking order of importance, and you thought, okay, where's Draymond Green out on a pecking order for this roster? He's top 3. He's important. It's pretty damn important.
But
now we go to the money. And you say to yourself, well, if we can't replace this guy, and he's irreplaceable, and we're not a playoff team without him, why are we going to let him walk? That's. I'm just making a counterpoint here.
No, it's a great counterpoint.
Because I've heard I've heard a lot of
counterpoint.
people say, well, Draymond, let him walk. You lose that slot if he walks, unless it's a signing trade. Then who are you going to get back in the signing trade
to
replace Draymond Green?
Let's say you let him walk. Okay, let's say you let him walk, and we all kind of agree you're going to lose a lot defensively. You're going to lose a lot in terms of half-court playmaking, right? There's no doubt about it. You're going to lose a lot. You can't be one of the top 12 teams in the West without Draymond Green. And then you've got way more flexibility when it comes to other superstars wanting to come the following year because you're not so hard capped. You get back your mid-level exception next year. You get back a lot of different.
So you take a short-term step back next season, but does Steph want that at this age?